Hello all my Kenvians and welcome to the first episode of Discovering Steven Universe Season 2. Or, well, actually I guess in the actual count this makes it episode 52 for Discovering Doctor Who. But yeah, basically the first episode for watching and reviewing the second season, as long as you don't count the Uncle Grandpa episode, which I don't. But today I'm going to be watching Full Disclosure and ready to see where it picks up from where the last episode left off. So let's begin with Full Disclosure.
What happened?
We won! Where do I even start? It's been a madhouse over here.
That's enough celebrating.
I see you, Pay!
Connie, I have crystal gems. No way, they were super strong. But you were able to beat them back? No, they totally stopped us.
Oh, poor Greg.
Super pee-pee and knocked me unconscious. Then they abducted me onto the ship because they wanted to take me away forever. Then we crashed the ship and I almost died. They walk with you. It's our duty to let those simple people live out their simple lives without ever knowing the burden of being friends with us. At least we can be there for each other.
Is that giant hand from the sky sitting right in the middle of the beach? I gotta get some of this for my blog!
Nice talk, Ronaldo. Nice talk. You didn't help at all.
Everybody told me gem stuff's dangerous.
Your song.
Didn't believe it until now.
Wow, this montage of clips is like working really well with the music. And this is a really good song.
Let's get a new one with barbed wire. This time, let's build a moat. I could be the crocodile.
Yes.
No. You always say you'll be the crocodile, but you never commit. Nope. Darn it!
To see his father and his friends.
I don't understand your human relationships. So, goodbye.
Garnet pulled her out the door.
Well,
I still want to be friends.
Aww.
your eye. What happened to you?
How could she notice his eye with?
I've been worried sick all day. Are you okay? You're the one that's been through everything. The least I could do is just listen.
I can't ask you to do that.
I want to, Steven. I want to be a part of your universe.
Aww.
Oh, there you are.
That's quite possibly the most adorable thing ever.
Oh, Dad, are you doing okay?
I got it out of my system. I'm back to being your cool dad.
And they're rebuilding. Very nice. And Mayor Dewey is talking to Onion and his dad. Oh, there we go. I really enjoy this end song. Oh. And it went back to static real quick there at the end. And that was interesting. They used a shorter version of the credits, or maybe that was like the original length, or at least the shorter version of that end credit song. I do hope that they keep using that from now on, because I mean just the regular music is fine, but the vocals just add something to it that's just phenomenal. But so that's the end of Full Disclosure. I feel like maybe as far as a reaction goes, this might be a little bit boring to watch. I hope not, but at the very least, I definitely had a lot of like personal reactions here as far as just like, you know, some of the different plot elements. I just don't know if they came out visually. But yeah, I will see you all after the break for the review section of this episode. See you in just a second. Alright everyone, welcome back, and it's time for the review section of this episode. And let's get right into it with my favorite parts. And to start off with, I honestly really appreciate the fact that this episode, despite being the beginning of a second season, an entirely second season, it actually does pick up exactly where Jailbreak left off. The very second it left off, in fact, which I didn't expect. I expected there to be sort of a, jump forward in time, but no, it's, literally during the aftermath of the ship crashing and them escaping, so I really like the way that they did that. It's not usually a common theme you get when you have the start of a new season, but then again, they may have different ways of I guess they just have different ways of doing it with the group behind Steven Universe. But moving on to my second favorite part of this episode was Amethyst celebrating. It was hilarious and adorable, and easily the best part of it is when she goes over, and it's like, I kind of heard this, but thankfully I was watching with closed captions or subtitles, so I was able to really catch what was going on. But she kind of runs off camera and apparently grabs Pearl, and she goes, "I see you, P!" and grabs her and hugs her. And when we actually do see her and Pearl is just like, "Let me go!" So yeah, Amethyst celebrating was just a hilarious and wonderful part of the start of the episode. My next favorite part, and it may sound strange for me to say this considering, I have anxiety and all that, but Greg's horror and anxiety upon hearing essentially what happened from Steven, and just the way he reacts is just, I feel sad for the character, obviously, but at the same time, it's really well done in a way that is, one, I can empathize, because that would be very traumatizing and terrifying, but at the same time, it's just the way it plays out is absolutely hilarious, while at the same time playing into what happens with Steven as the rest of this episode goes on. And my next favorite part is actually, I guess, the biggest aspect of this entire episode, and it's after he sees the aftermath of what's happened to Beach City and, what he just experienced with his dad, and he decides he doesn't want to tell Connie, or at least he's very conflicted about it, but in the end, decides that he doesn't want to tell Connie when he actually does swipe to ignore. Although, I still think it looked like he was answering the call, but that's just me. But, a few great things came from that. First of all, Steven's song. I think it was called, I think it's called Full Disclosure, because it's the same, the song has the same name as the episode, so yeah, I guess that's right. It's called Full Disclosure. Just a great song, and the fact that they incorporated the ringtone into that, I thought was really cool. I don't know, it just worked so well, and it was a good song too. And then a little bit later, after, it seems like Steven has decided to be serious Steven again, and decides, he's gonna not block everyone out of his life in order to try and save them, but Connie ends up coming. It's like he tries running away from her. And, well, first of all, we get the rather humorous scene with Pearl, and they're greeting Connie at the door. But, as that goes on, it's and Steven tries to run away from Connie, he sends that text. It's I don't want to be friends anymore. And I honestly did think that, they've gone in unexpected directions with this show before. I thought that maybe, I doubt it would have been a permanent thing by any means, but part of me thought, what if Steven does block her out of his life in a sort of a misguided or a well-meant way to protect her in a sense? And I don't know. I'm glad it didn't turn out that way. Although, had they gone in that direction, I'm curious the kind of storylines they might have gone with. But won't have to worry about that at least. And then Well, I mean, after that, it's like, Steven ends up telling Connie everything about it. And, I mean, she, well, like anyone, and even Greg, it's like, she had to take time to process it, but she definitely took it better than Greg. But, it's like, she's understanding and she wants to be there for him. And she has definitely my quote of the episode, which I'll get to in a few minutes, but it's like that little scene there where he tells her everything, and we see her sort of like processing, or at least beginning to process all of it. And that was a really good scene. It was another example of a great relationship in this show. It's like we have Ruby and Sapphire that form Garnet, and just Steven and Connie, again, even though they're just kids, I mean, they are great examples of a strong relationship. I mean, I know a large number of adults that don't have as... I mean, yes, these are fictional characters, but still, I know a lot of adults that don't have as solid of a relationship as these characters do. Whether they're, adults on other TV shows or just adults in real life. So I love that part about this show. And then my final favorite part is we get to see, I guess the beginnings of, or I guess at least part of, Beach City rebuilding. Because by the time the episode is over, we see, they've cleaned up quite a bit. They have new windows up in the donut shop, and the others are helping each other. For some reason, Mayor Dewey is holding his, not microphone, but his bullhorn and talking to Onion and his dad, which was weird. But I'm not going to question it. But yeah, I really like that. Like as usual with this show, in such a short span of time, we got a full story, and I found it to be a nice closure, which is part of disclosure, to the events that came before. So I mean, this definitely could have been the final episode of season 1. But the fact that they decided to start off season 2 with this, I can respect that for sure. But okay, moving on from my favorites, I do have one annoyance. Just one. I was possibly going to have 2, but I'm just going to chalk up the swiping of the phone to ignore as just me being far too particular or whatever. But my one annoyance with this episode is Ronaldo. Ronaldo, he just makes things worse for Steven, and it's, I mean, obviously he's there to just kind of almost, like, he's meant to make it worse, or he's meant to almost emphasize this aspect of making Steven feel even worse about what's going on and how he has to protect them, although Ronaldo doesn't exactly protect much of anything at all. But yeah, I felt like that scene, at the very least, that scene with Ronaldo was unnecessary. It was kind of funny, but in the end, it just felt unnecessary and pure padding. Again, just in my opinion. Now, unlike a lot of people, I don't hate Ronaldo, but yeah, he's wasn't necessary here at all. But, okay, so moving on from there, it's time for... I didn't have a moment of terror, thankfully. Hopefully that won't come up anymore for at least a while in the show. Hard to say with this one, though. Now, as for my track of the episode, it should be very obvious what it is, and that is Steven's song, Full Disclosure. And again, using the ringtone as a part of the song. It was just really well done. It was a great song. The kid that voices Steven did a really good job on that. I mean, he tends to do good jobs with any of the songs he sings in general, but he did a really good job with this one too. So yeah, it's like by far like the track of the episode, and a heck of a way to start off the second series too, with a really strong song. Now, as for my quote of the episode, it's a very simple one, but I mean, it has a lot of meaning, and it's another, in my opinion, example of these characters, Steven and Connie, being written in a way that's just, it's such a good and loving and strong relationship between the two of them, despite being kids. But the quote is from Connie, "I want to be part of your universe." And I mean, me reading it there doesn't do it any justice. It's like, you know, when Connie herself says it in the episode, it's just so perfect and so sweet. It's just so well done. It's like it's one of many great aspects of this episode, in my opinion. So yeah, that's definitely my quote of the episode. I guess I was thinking of a possible question to pose for this one, because overall, at least at just this point in the second season, I don't really have a theory per se, but I guess the question I do have is, and I guess this is particularly, or a particular question that I have because of the fact that we see Ronaldo pulling one of the parts from the ship through the street, and it is, I wonder whether or not the fact that this alien technology, I would say pretty much the most advanced alien technology that has landed in Beach City so far, and considering there was so much of it scattered around, it's like even if the crystal gems did, you know, do their best to clean all of it up, or at least most of it up, there's going to be some parts that didn't quite get picked up, and could some of that material get used or perhaps misused, or maybe they'll just cease to exist and we'll see that part eventually in like the back of Ronaldo's room at some point. I don't know. I'm curious to see if any of those parts and any of that gem technology might have some effects in the future. I mean, considering how they handle canon in this show, I don't doubt that is a possibility, to say the very least. But overall for this episode, what do I have to say? It was really good. It was an amazing way, again, to start off the second season. It was just a great episode in general. It was, and again, had they had this episode be the actual ending to season 2, it might have felt a little bit more appropriate, but again, I do appreciate the fact that they used this as the opening for season 2, because it just makes it feel that much more of a smooth transition, at least in my opinion. So yeah, definitely, I'm a huge fan of this episode now. It's really, really well done. I would consider this to be part 3 of a trio of episodes, which is, you know, The Return, Jailbreak, and then Full Disclosure. So yeah, definitely thumbs up for me on that one. I would love to hear what you all have to say about this episode as far as your favorite parts, some possible other annoyances you might have had. I mean, if there was another track for this episode that caught your eye, or caught your ear, I guess, you know, let me know what it is. I'd be curious to hear what you might have to say, but again, just full disclosure, the song that Steven sang was just great. And then, you know, any other possible quotes of the episode, there were a few other lines that I liked from the episode, but just Connie's line in that one just really worked for me the most. But other than that, I would love to hear, again, love to hear your all's thoughts on this episode. Love to hear your all's thoughts on some of my favorites and my annoyance, if you have any thoughts about those. But that's the end of this episode, and until next time for Joyride, which I assume will probably be back to some more lighthearted episodes in the Steven universe. But yeah, until next time for Joyride, everyone, I'm Papa Ken, and I will see you in the next episode.